Behold, this is where the server cabinet used to live, and now it is a trash can. No, that's just where the cabinet used to be, and that's the trash can that I was using to pick up a bunch of crap. This has been here for over 8 years, and the floor is disgusting, so that's going to be crazy. These are all my fun cables that are like the infrastructure to the entirety of, well, everything around here. The fiber lines actually were running from here over to the other side where my desktop used to be. But I've got to pull all of these guys back along this entire soffit and bring it all the way back over to there. And then it's got to get pulled back. Oop, tripping over crap here. Pulled back over to this side, and it's going to come out here. And then I'm going to run it back through this part of the soffit all the way down, and it's going to come out over here. Where this is that gap that used to be. I actually had to make this hole a little bit bigger, but I'm going to pull the cables in. They're all going to come out here. They're going to come up and over and then into the cabinet. Got the UPSs on. I've only got one on right now. The one on the bottom is the one that was giving me some weird problems with my batteries, and that was a pain in the butt, but it was telling me they were disconnected, and I thought it was weird, so I pulled them out, plugged them back in, I tested them, and they were showing up with the proper voltage, so I was like, okay, plugged it back in, and now it's fine. So, yeah, that's a thing. And then, which is fine right now, because I've only got this guy powered on. This one here, I forgot a grounding screw to ground all this stuff out, so it's not done yet. And then I'll get this guy up and running, but unfortunately it's also got dead batteries, so I've got to get replacement batteries for those guys, which is its own nightmare fuel. But then otherwise, you know, this guy's here. It is in the space. Let's see if I can get a little bit of a better angle on this. I don't think I actually have a good angle on this. Let me get back over here because it's huge. There we go. That's a good spot for him. That's my DeWalt cleaning up stuff. But then, yeah, so there's the cabinet. It's got not as much ceiling clearance as I thought it was going to. I guess when they tried to level out the floor here, it's not at all level before I got in here. I think this ceiling is like that much higher than that ceiling over there, so that's just a nightmare fuel. That's the ceiling. The upper fans on that thing were blowing dust and stuff onto it, and so I'm hoping we're going to clean that up and make that stop doing that. I probably will not plug them in on this side because it's just not enough space up top there, and it's just not worth putting them in. My goal is to seal off. This is going to be like the cold aisle, and then back here is the hot aisle. And I'm going to punch a hole somewhere in this wall. On the other side of this wall is the compressor for my mini split here, and I've got to get through. Anyway, I'm going to punch a hole here. I'm going to vent all the hot air from this side just straight outside. So that's going to be the thing. I left this 20 amp plugs here because that's actually 20 amp line. I left that here. I'm thinking about putting like a 3D printer right there in the hot side, so it kind of maintains that hotter, warmer area. So when it's printing, the environment's a little bit warmer, which is like my cheap way of utilizing this corner space, that power, and also keeping the you know, instead of getting a fancy enclosure for my old Ender 5 Pro. It's not exactly the greatest, and I know Enders are a little wonky. That might get replaced down the road. Depending. But yeah, so this is going to be, I'm pretty excited about it. I have these two PDUs. This one here is awesome. Unfortunately, it does not have a network connection, which sucks. I really hoped it would, but it does not. This guy over here does. That's what I just tripped over. It does have a network connection, but it is acting weird. So something's funny about it, and maybe somebody out there who's a little more electrician savvy than I am could tell me. So like when I drop the multimeter in here into, you know, this and this, I get 240, which is cool. Obviously when you plug it into the grounding pin and one of these sides, or this third pin and this side, you get 120, and then, you know, 120 over there. This guy here, this is what gets weird. So plug it in here to here, I get 120 volts. Here to here, I get 120 volts. Here to here, I get 5 volts. So either this thing is just completely fried and I just need to chuck it in a wood chipper, or there's something else that maybe I could do to fix it. I checked all the fuses. Fuses look fine. So maybe there's something else that I'm missing. It probably is something in the electronics up there that severed something or blew a fuse or smashed up a resistor or something. I don't know. It probably didn't survive some kind of surge or something, but it kept all the rest of the equipment alive, which is awesome. Speaking of the equipment, it's an old plasma TV. Like old, it's like 20-something years old now, maybe 25 years old now. I keep it around because it's got every single connection you could possibly imagine, minus like DisplayPort and anything new, but it's got HDMI, component, composite, S-video. It's only 720, I think it's a 720p monitor, or 720p TV, but that's fine for all the old consoles that I have. Like, I've got every Nintendo console known to man, minus like the Wii U. I've got a couple of old like Genesis and Dreamcast, and no, I don't have a Dreamcast. I'm sorry, I was thinking the Jaguar, and a few other things of that nature. So I'll keep that around for those kinds of things. Maybe we'll see some of the content regarding those later on. Yeah, this is the old command station. It's still going to go back into the rack, so it's going to be fine. It's basically a KVM drawer. I only use the one port on it because I have an Avicent, I think it's a DS2032, and basically it's an IP KVM that I plug all these guys into, and then this thing just stays on the one, and I use it to control the Avicent. This is an old EX4200. It's a Juniper. It's really awesome. It's a 48-port gig switch. This one's a 48P, so it's all PoE. But it's all PoE, not PoE Plus, which is kind of useless in this day and age. It does have two 10 gig ports or four 1 gig like SFP ports. It's an older model, like way older model. It's being replaced with this guy. This guy is an EX4300. It runs Junos as well. These ports on the front, this is four 10 gig ports on the front, and on the back, we'll go back here. It's got four. These are technically the virtual chassis ports, but they can be pulled out of the virtual chassis, and then they're just 40 gig QSFP Plus ports, so they're 40 gig ports, so I got 440s in the back. And this guy is pretty awesome. I got to swap out the fans and the power supplies for AFIs. These are AFOs, so airflow out. So in this case, the airflow goes from front to back. I need to make it from back to front. And the reason for that is my goal is to put it in the back of the cabinet here, where I'm going to have the patch panels. There's a keystone panel I've got here that's going to plug directly into it, and then I've got all the back of the servers are going to be back here, so they're just going to plug directly into that guy, or they're going to plug directly into the other switch I have, which is in that fancy box right there, which is a QFX 5110. I was going to use a 5100, but the 5110s, I got a really good deal on them. And I was really stoked, and then I realized it is a DC power supply in this new inbox Juniper, which is probably why it was so ridiculously inexpensive. But realistically, the 5110, with me also purchasing AFI power supplies, is still less expensive than just buying one with the AFI power supplies in there. So that's going to be cool. This one's neat. It's 48 10 gig ports, SFP Plus ports, and then it's got, I want to say it's, I keep thinking 4, but I think it's 6, because the 5100 has 6 40 gig ports. This one's got either 4 or 6 100 gig ports, which is fantastic and awesome. So can't wait to get that guy online. Down here I've got my NetApps. Those are just 4246s. I've got the IOM6 port cards in the back, which is cool, 6 gig SAS. These two here are the Nimble server and an expansion drives. One of these actually has the server in it. And then the other one is just, I think this one's just the shelf. I think it's just basically storage expansion for this guy, but I'm pretty sure this guy here is, nope, I've got it backwards. So this one is just the storage expansion, and that one's the one with the server. So there's actually a server in the back here. And I'm probably going to swap out the Nimble everything for either like TrueNAS, or I might just put something else on it completely and make it do something else and test some things out. Maybe I'll put Proxmox on here. Because these guys over here, these are my... no, stop focusing on my finger. These are R815. They're old Opteron, but they're 4-socket Opteron servers. Each one's got 16 core. It's, you know, it's the bulldozer chips. Bulldozer chips. So it's technically 16-bit floating points, and then they act as in unison, so it's got 8 modules, and each module can do the 32-point floating point, 32-bit floating point. And either way, it's 64 cores in each one, or 32 modules. So that thing's, it's pretty beefy. But realistically, for the record, Bulldozer got a really bad rap because they shoved it into a desktop before it was ready, and it was never really designed to be a desktop chip, and it was designed to be a server chip doing virtual stack stuff, which is awesome, which is what I got it doing. So that's always pretty fancy. This is an R420. It runs the TrueNAS core. I keep resisting going to TrueNAS scale because I'm kind of partial to the FreeBSD, and the fact that IX Systems is not doing that anymore and they're migrating everything to scale. I'm like, that's unfortunate in a lot of ways, and it makes me kind of sad. Below that, I have my old QFX 5100. It's being retired for the 5110. And beneath that, I've got an R310. It is currently running pfSense. And the one below that is a R6415. The R6415 is a Epic server. I swapped out the chip that I got with it with a faster one, so it's got a higher clock speed. I'm going to make that an OpenSense box, and I'm going to be begrudgingly migrating everything from the pfSense box to the OpenSense box, which is going to be crazy. Beneath that, I've got a new Supermicro system. I can't remember the model number, but it's got an Epic chip in there as well, and I'm going to turn that into either like a probably like a Minecraft server, to be honest with you. At least that's what it's going to start out as. I'm not sure what I'm going to do after that, or what else I might do with it. Hard drives, power supplies for the net apps. I'm pretty stoked. That's kind of where I'm at right now. It's my new laptop. I got to get it out and get it together. Probably be a video on me putting that thing together, which is why it's still in the box. So I'm pretty stoked about all of that. But yeah, this is it's coming together. I can't wait to get all this stuff installed. The other reason why I'm swapping between the R310 and the 6415 is the R310, I could probably make this work, but it's an old chassis, it's an old system, and I'm like, you know what, it's time to retire it anyway. Half the pfSense configs are borked. I really need to like either completely reinstall and reapply the config, but it's been running pretty solid for many years, and it's gone through a series of upgrades, but at some point, with the new DHCP server, that's the software for the DHCP server, and like the OpenVPN installation has been changed a little bit, and now I cannot delete old VPN tunnels on the OpenVPN stuff because it's just something to do with the way the config is, and it just breaks the whole system. So I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna retire the whole thing and try out OpenSense for a hot minute. I've used it several times for a lot of different things, and I really like it. So let's see what it can do when I give it a lot of obnoxious horsepower. And that's really going to be fun because I just upgraded the internet here from 1 gig symmetrical to 2.5 gig symmetrical. So that's going to be awesome. And if everything goes well, I might end up doing 10 gig symmetrical, which would be awesome because it's not that expensive in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, no, so this whole space, it's not going to stay like this. I'm going to build a wall. It's going to go along this whole space here to where this pillar is. So I'm just going to box this whole thing in and then leave it here and then forget about it. And no one's ever going to know that there's a server back here ever, period. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to put a door. The door is going to go here. I'm going to put like some shelves here for like spare parts and other miscellaneous things. It's just going to be like one of those cube shelves. That was where I had power for my desktop. I pulled all that out. It's going to get migrated to the other side. I'm going to pull that thing off. I'm probably going to end up getting some kind of 1U 30 amp UPS to run a bunch of stuff over here, because this is a 120 volt 30 amp socket that was installed because I had a couple of really cool PDUs, and I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to migrate those to put into some kind of big UPS and then put the PDUs into that. And that's probably what my desktop's going to run on. I had another one over there in that piece right there. That's my map gas. It's probably dangerous. Probably should put it somewhere safer. But yeah, so this is pretty crazy. I know I mentioned it last time. The reason why a lot of this is happening because we had a little bit of a water leak. Not inside. It was all outside. And that was just a pain in the butt. And so we're stripping all of this paint down and then repainting everything. I know I posted some pictures before, and this was not painted all the way. That's not painted all the way. I made a post to Reddit in the home lab, and then I probably realized that I probably should have put it in home data center, and because I didn't know that existed at the time. I'm not a huge Reddit person, but I was like, hey, this is the thing. So if you go dig through the /r home lab, you might find my post and kind of explain everything that I've got going on here and what's happening. So I think that is everything that I've got to talk about right now. Yeah, I think that's it. If there's anything else, I'll probably post another one of these things. I'm trying to get some time lapse of this, but it's really hard to film this while you're doing it, as I always have trouble doing that stuff. So you get these things instead, and I kind of give you a little update. So I'll hopefully get some time lapse of some of this stuff going on, so we can see all this stuff kind of come together as I pull cables back and move cables over. And I don't know, maybe. Who knows? Like I said, it takes a bit to plug this in. I had to turn off all the power in here because I had to run this power, and 240 volts is dangerous and it can kill you. 240 volt can kill you. So yeah, I think that's where I'm at. Let's, batteries. Okay, I'm done. I think I'm done. I'll catch you guys next time. Hit the buttons or something, the like button and subscribe and all that jazz. Alright, peace.